Last spring, I decided to fill out Marriage Pact because given the circumstances of being home and not really connected to the GW community, I was like, hey, why not? This is a chance to maybe meet someone else in a friendly way, maybe romantic. I didn't initially fill it out at all to be romantic. It was just like, I could meet someone and have a connection.
For me, that experience was so wrapped up in terms of like the pandemic writ large. Like I ended up staying at home. So my entire freshman year was virtual. And in some ways that felt really isolating. And so the Marriage Pact kind of presented an opportunity to, theoretically to get to know someone else or to meet someone else in the GW community.
And so I ended up getting my match and actually did not reach out to them.
They ended up reaching out to me first, or they followed me first, at least on Instagram. And we had like a bit of a conversation, but it didn't last very long.
I slid in the DMs and did not get the DM back. I had never met this person before, no idea they even existed. So like it wasn't like a feeling of total rejection, but it was still rather disappointing.
But honestly, my experience with Marriage Pact was pretty positive, and that's what led me to fill it out again. This year, I was hoping that more people will fill it out this year, just to meet new people.
I think it's just kind of the hopes that this time it will be better. So it's like, at least this time, maybe I will get, a match I'll at least talk to.
Well, I think one of the reasons it's done so well and it came back is because the dating culture here is difficult.
I mean, I didn't really come in with this super specific preconceived notion of what the dating scene would be like up here, but I think it's fair to say that I've been a little bit underwhelmed.
Realistically, I find a lot of like the DC like gay culture to be very shallow and things, and physical, like you have to have a certain physique, you have to have a certain, social kind of life. If you're not in kind of the it group, you have a harder time connecting with people. So definitely, I think if you don't fit a certain stereotype, especially in the gay community, it's harder for you to find those connections.
I like that there's more of a screening to Marriage Pact than there is on like Tinder or Hinge. Like you get those questions out of the way to begin with, whereas like Tinder and Hinge, you got to go through them yourselves, and you might have to go like on a really poor first date to work that out. Whereas like GW Marriage Pact, like they ask you the hard-hitting questions. Like I noticed that they've refined some of them to like connect with the GW community more. Like there's more questions about like the environment and like political activism this semester, which I think helps refine choices better.
Some of the questions were the same, some were different. It's interesting just to see like what the campus really feels about things. Like we always do our hot takes every year. I remember like big ones that we did were I'm against or pro Greek life. I appreciate devil's advocate argument.
If there's no one at the stoplight and it's red, would you still go through?
I just think it's funny because it kind of reminds you of like the culture of GW, and it's almost like a way of like celebrating it. We are not technically affiliated with GW, so there's not really like much of a presence that we can have on campus. So most of it's still through social media.
Besides the memes and everything, I think the social media page is good for everybody's mental health a little bit, seeing everybody kind of joke about it. I also think it kind of makes a sense of camaraderie in that a lot of people kind of realize we all have kind of the same sucky situations. So you don't feel as alone in that.
Yeah, it kind of makes like, especially like with how independent GW is, it can feel like pretty lonely at times, and I feel like the GW Marriage Pact does a really good job of like all of us, it might be depressing, but all of us are admitting like our collective loneliness and just like kind of embracing it and like laughing at it. It's just kind of fun.
It gives people something to talk about outside of politics, and especially like I feel like that sense was more palpable back in the spring because the vast majority of us were still at home, and that sense of community that did exist in a physical space was lost.
Not that I had a bad showing in the spring, but I don't think it's truly telling of like the impact it could have, because no one was really around on campus, and if you were still isolated in this COVID world. So I think the fall has really given us a chance to really see how much will actually come of it.
I really hope that this just like is another event that really brings the campus together. I really hope that since we are in person, people are actually going to meet up with their pets, like and like maybe start dating, maybe find better friends.
But you know, even if I can just like get a friend or like somebody to talk to because like, you know, I'm supposed to be compatible with this person, like even just a friend I would be fine with.
Meeting new people is always a good thing. So meeting someone else, someone who I can hold a conversation with, that's always a win.